Dr. Stone kicks its second episode and we got a lot of things to talk about. After testing a lot of researches, Senku and Taiju finally created a cure to undo the putrefaction, and eventually took another step in restoring the humanity. I like how they already started the scene, showing how deep the bond between the two main characters. Senku let Taiju choose the first person that they are going to undo the putrefaction, and without a doubt, we already know who will Taiju choose. Plus the comedic scene of the series are for sure seeking a lot of viewers. I like how they did not left that part, it changes the mood and the tone of the series at some point. And basically, they already foreshadowed in first episode the character who will be introduced next. Plus the fact that the writers shows that humans are not the top of the food chain anymore, makes the series more realistic, and not letting the storyline messes up. I did expect that Taiju will be able to beat the lions, but I remember he's also human. It really shows how power scaling are given a priority and much considered in this anime series. At time of crisis, the bond between the main characters are starting to develop more. I like how the writers showed that the two of them are the vital key in restoring the humanity. Vast knowledge and sufficient power are dependent with each other. Now we moved on how the next character was introduced. I think it was not the best way, but since they pull it off, we can't argue with that. And of course, the way a certain character was introduced is not the main factor in criticizing the entire series. Tsukasa was this character that doesn't talk a lot. He seems like a collective kind of person. There is something behind his eyes which I think Senku might have noticed upon the first word he said. Taiju was this character being an avid fan of Tsukasa. I am pretty sure the writers are trying to conceal us from the truth. The fact that Taiju having a positive aura towards Tsukasa was very intriguing. Meanwhile Senku was just like being quiet. I think he was just concerned of how strong Tsukasa is. He must have calculated something wrong will happen if this kind of person coexists with them. He's not that dumb to unnotice the suspicious behavior of Tsukasa. Let's move on to that fun quiz of Senku. I think it might be vital for the upcoming episodes. He stated that calcium carbonate was the most important thing needed for a technological civilization. He mentioned that there are 4 major uses of it, but ended up stating only 3. It was really commendable for the creator to have this kind of information in the series. It's like we have learned something useful. But that's not my main point about this quiz. I think the 4th use of calcium carbonate was making a weapon. In that evening, Senku is secretly making a weapon. I think he did not tell it just because he must have planned on his mind. He didn't want to tell it in front of Tsukasa. I am pretty sure he will tell it to Taiju without hesitation, but Tsukasa was there and he might considered him as a near threat on the future. I think it's very evident because of that convo between Senku and Tsukasa before dawn. On the next day, we found out a little story about Tsukasa. For me this is the highlight of the episode. I think he might have seen and felt how the world works. He did not feel the true freedom he attained in a cruel world. All he wanted was to make his younger sister happy, but people keeps preventing him from doing what he wants. Plus the main issue on this episode is all about morality. I think Tsukasa has a fair point. We can't blame him. The world was too cruel on him that makes him hate the humanity. Realistically, this episode is purely genuine. The concept or the main idea was clearly expressed through the perspectives of the characters. I think this will be the start where mortal sins grow. This episode was better than the previous one. To think the series has only 2 episodes but it literally hooked me into it is just amazing. So far, I can clearly say that the series has a bright future ahead of it. Now that a threat on the humanity is coming, I'm looking forward how the main characters, Senku and Taiju, will be able to surpass it.